and Horford get a good one. Lowry picked up by Gordon. Murray is on Butler. Jimmy Butler on the drive, gets inside, stops. Stolen by Caldwell Pope. And a foul.
I'm not sure who is more overhyped to me, Jimmy Butler or Cardi B. Because people act like Jimmy Butler becomes like Michael Jordan in the playoffs. And I'll concede that he definitely gets better in the playoffs. But in my opinion, he really only goes from like a number 2 on a championship team in the regular season type guy to a 1B. Like, I really do not think that you can win an NBA championship with a guy like Jimmy Butler being your best player. Yet people do not want to hear that. Because I feel like a lot of NBA fans are infatuated with Jimmy Butler. And it probably has a lot to do with his personality. Because he's a dog. He's got that edge to him. And I'll admit I do like that quality about him. Especially in a very, very soft 2024 NBA. Where everybody's friends, fraternizing with the opponents, soft, whatever you want to call it. Jimmy Butler is sort of made from the old mold. A 90s, early 2000s type player. I mean, with his mid-range game, he'd probably be a first option on a championship team in the 90s, but the game has changed. And I just think that his abilities are grossly overstated. People act like Jimmy Butler's won a couple rings. But in reality, he's 0 for 2 in the finals. And neither series was particularly close. And Jimmy Butler also seems to always escape criticism. You know, never getting it when he performs badly. And when the team wins for other reasons, sometimes he even gets like unfair praise. Like last year against the Boston Celtics. The Miami Heat pulled up the upset. The 8 seed beating the 2 seed Celtics. But to me, that was really more about the Boston Celtics being morons in that series. Playing with their food. Having mental issues closing out games. But it was also about the Miami Heat role players. Who were absolutely fantastic the whole series. Caleb Martin. Gabe Vincent. Max Strus. I mean, you would have thought the 3 of them were LeBron James, Wade, and Bosh. Caleb was absolutely torching, quote-unquote defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart. Jimmy Butler had maybe 2 good games in that series. Obviously, after that Grant Williams incident when they got in each other's face because Grant Williams is like the dumbest person ever. And that was his best game, and that was impressive. But he sucked a lot of that series. And he is not why they won. All Jimmy Butler kept doing was guaranteeing they'd win the next game. And I'd look at the fan comments and the media being like, oh, look at Jimmy and his confidence. But I feel like if any other player in the league did that, they'd be calling him arrogant. Or a choker because they were about to do something that had never been done before. They'd be compared to like the 2004 Yankees blowing a 3-0 lead. And then in the finals last year, the Miami Heat got absolutely clapped by the Denver Nuggets. And Jimmy Butler had a horrendous showing. He sucked in every single game. He wasn't even regular season Jimmy Butler in that series. Yet nobody gave him criticism. Nobody. Yet Jason Tatum the year before that had very identical stats to him against the Warriors. And everybody criticized Jason Tatum. Yet, isn't Jimmy Butler supposed to be Michael Jordan in the playoffs? Jason Tatum was also 23 in his first finals ever. And Jimmy Butler was 32 in his second finals ever. And people also act like that team last year was a Cinderella story because they were an 8 seed. But to me, they were hurt for a lot of the year. Not really taking the regular season seriously. The team was mostly the same from the prior season, where the Miami Heat were the number 1 seed in the East. And they lost to the Celtics. And they had Game 7 at home. And Jimmy Butler even had a chance to win the game, taking a 3 and front rimming it. But everybody loves Jimmy Butler. And I just think he's insanely overrated. Because right now the Miami Heat are a play-in team because they didn't take the regular season seriously again. And all these comments are, wait till Miami plays the Celtics this year. It's going to be over for the Celtics because Jimmy Butler owns them. While people also forget that the Celtics are, 1-2 against the Heat. Let's not act like the Heat have won every single year against the Celtics. And the Celtics have beaten them every game this year too. I just think it's really annoying. Jimmy Butler escapes criticism unlike any other star in the whole league. And I get people like the underdog story because Jimmy was a second round pick. Growing up in a tough situation, making the NBA, all really impressive things. What Jimmy Butler's done with his career from being a second round pick is second right now only probably to Nikola Jokic. Of course it's impressive. Of course Jimmy Butler will be a Hall of Famer. But he's not an all-time great. And he was never a superstar in the NBA. He was only a star. To me, maybe his ceiling was a top 8 player, but number 8. And again, not somebody that can ever win a championship as the best player. Miami Heat might not even make the playoffs this year. And Jimmy Butler will need a true number 1 to come to Miami at some point, if they ever are. Despite the fact that they have Bam Adebayo, Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, the best coach in the league by miles. Heat culture. To me, that's more about Eric Spoelstra than it is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler sort of just implements it. But that's Spo. Spo runs circles around other coaches. Spo embarrassed Milwaukee. Spo embarrassed Boston. He's the one that should be getting more of the praise, in my opinion. The best coach in the league. Jimmy Butler does have a lot of resources around him. Yet people act like it's Jimmy and a bunch of community college kids upsetting all of these great teams.